What's going on, guys? In this video, we are going to set up a caching layer in our Golang application by using Redis. Okay, but what is Redis? Redis is a remote dictionary server, which is why it's called Redis. Redis is an in-memory key value data store and is typically used either for caching or as a message broker. For caching, the keys are strings, and it supports multiple data types such as lists, sets, hashes, and sorted sets. The most common operations are set and get, and those are the operations that we're going to use from the application. And as a message broker, Redis can be used as a message queue, as a publish subscribe middleware, or we can use Redis streams. Remember to download the Golang cheat sheet. There is a link in the description below this video, and remember to subscribe to the channel. I have a Redis server running here, so let's quickly check the port where it's running. Yes, yeah. Pipe grep Redis, and as we can see here, it's running on localhost, and this is the default port for Redis 6379. Now let's use the Redis CLI, the command line interface, to execute some common operations. So Redis CLI. Redis provides 16 databases out of the box. We can select the database that we are going to use by using the index of the number of database from 0 to 15. So if we select, for example, 16, it's going to throw an error because we cannot just select between 0 and 15. So let's select, I don't know, the database 10. And as we can see here in the prompt, the number of the database is included there. Okay, so some common operations are set and get, so we are going to execute those. Let's say that I want to set for key 1, I want to assign value to it. And if I execute get key 1, I get the value that I assign here. Another operation that I can execute is append. For example, if I want to append something to this value associated to the key, I can run append key 1, and I can append a value to this value here. So let's say 1. And now if I execute the get operation, I'm going to get value 1, like that. Okay, I can also list all the existing keys. So let's create another one. Let's say key 2, value 2. And we can execute keys, wildcard. And we're going to get all the keys that are part of this dictionary, let's say. Okay, when I set a value for a specific key, I can also specify the expiration time. So I can do something like this. Set key 3, value 3. And here I'm saying that this value is going to expire in 10 seconds. So if I run this and I execute a get operation, I'm going to get it for 10 minutes. But if I can run in this in just a few seconds, it's going to return nil. Yeah, here. So this value expires in 10 seconds. Okay, now let's move on to the IDE and let's create our caching layer to the application that we've been working on the past 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, so this is the application we've been working on. If this is the first time that you see this code, please watch the video of the card at the top right corner. And what we're going to do here is we're going to create a caching layer. So I'm going to create a new folder. Let's call it cache. And here I'm going to create an interface for our caching layer. So it's going to be postcache.go. The package is going to be cache. And the type is going to be postcache. This is going to be an interface. And this is going to be pretty simple. We're just going to include two functions. The set function that is going to receive a key that is going to be a string, and a value that in our case is going to be entity.post. And the other function is going to be get like that. And it's going to receive a key, a string, and it's going to return the post associated to that key that is going to be the identifier of the post. So in this case, it's going to be a reference, this is reference, or the pointer, and this is also going to return a pointer to the post. So entity.post, like that. Okay, and that's pretty much the interface for our cache. We have a set operation where we associate the identifier of the post with a post, and we have a get operation where we retrieve the post associated to the specific key that we specified by using the previous function. Okay, and now I'm going to create the concrete implementation of this interface by using Redis. So this is going to be Redis cache.go, and the package is going to be the same, cache, and I'm going to create a structure, type Redis cache struct, and this structure is going to include three properties: the host, that's going to be a string, the database, remember that is an index between 0 and 15, and we are also going to include an expires property that is going to define the expiration time for all the elements that we're going to store here using this cache. So this is going to be time.duration. So here, this is the data type that will allow us to define the number of seconds that the element that we create is going to be available. Okay, so we're going to create a constructor function. It's going to be new Redis cache. And here we're going to pass all these properties. So we have host, it's going to be a string. We have the db, that is going to be an int. And then we have the expiration time, that's going to be a time.duration, like that. And here we are going to return a reference to that struct, that is Redis cache. And here we assign those values. We assign the host to the host that we receive. We assign the index or the DB number or the database number, like that. And we also assign the expiration time, that is expires. And this is in seconds. Okay. And now we need to implement, here I need to specify the interface, that is postcache. And now we need to implement each of these here, each of these functions, the set and the get. So I'm going to grab this. Okay, it's going to be func, and here I'm going to pass cache. It's going to be a reference to the, to the Redis cache structure, like that. And the get function, here I need to specify again the structure. I'm going to create another function that's going to be private, that is going to create a new Redis client. So here I'm going to pass the structure again, and it's going to be get client, and this is going to return a reference or a pointer to a Redis client, Redis.client, like that. So for this, I need to import the Redis library. So I need to execute go get, and this is github.com/go redis/redis, and the version that is case is B7. Okay, and now we should be able to use this library client like that. Okay, I'm going to import this manually, and let's see if we get any errors. Copy this like that. Yes, now it works. So here I'm going to return redis.new client, and here I need to pass redis.options, and these are the settings for the database. This is the host of the database first. That is going to be cache.host. Then we have the password. In this case, we are not using any password, so it's going to be just an empty string. And then we have to pass the database index. This is going to be cache.db. Like that. Okay, and this is the way to create a new Redis client in Golang using this library. That is the official, let's say, Redis library for Golang. So what we're going to do here is associate the JSON representation of this post to this key. So we're going to do that. Okay, first I'm going to get the client. So I need to use it to assign this key value pair. So it's going to be client, and it's going to be cache.getClient. This is the function that we created here. So we have the Redis client, and now we are going to use it. So now we are going to serialize the post that we receive here as the value. So this is going to be JSON error. And those are the values that the JSON.Marshall function is going to return. And here we need to pass the value that we receive. And we need to handle the error. So if error is not empty, it's not nil, let's say panic. So we throw this error. So if we are able to marshal the post that we receive as value in the JSON format, we are going to set that key. So we need to use the client, and we're going to use the set operation, and we're going to put the key that we want to use, the value that is going to be the JSON that we created here, and we're going to set an expiration time that is going to be cache that expires, and we need to specify the format that's going to be time that second. Okay, here we are saying that this value associated to this key is going to expire here in the number of seconds that we specify. That's all we need for the set function. Now let's work on the get function. So again, I need to create a new client. So let's do that. I'm going to use that. And here I'm going to get or a value or an error when I execute the get operation from the Redis client. So here I need to pass the key that I receive here, this string that is going to be the identifier of the post. And I need to use the result function, and I need to handle the error. If I get any errors, I'm going to return nil. if I get a value, I'm going to assign it to a new post. So I'm going to create a new post. And I need to unmarshal that value. Remember that we are storing a JSON here with the set operation. So we are marshalling here, we are marshalling the post. And now we need to unmarshal that JSON file that we stored in the Redis cache. So here we need to use JSON that unmarshal. And here we need to pass a byte array like that. And here we need to use the val, that is the JSON that we receive from here. Okay, and now we need to specify the destination. That is going to be the post variable. And in case we get any errors, this is going to return an error. So we need to handle that. So it's going to be pretty similar to this. If we get any errors, we're going to panic directly. Yeah, let's do that. And here we are going to return the reference or the pointer to the post, like that. Okay, and that's pretty much all we need to implement this Redis cache. We have a set operation where we associate the identifier of the post to the value of the post. And within here, we are marshalling that post into JSON, and we are storing that keeper, the identifier of the post and the JSON representation of the post. And here, when we execute the get operation, we pass the identifier of the post and we get the reference to the post by unmarshalling the JSON that was stored into the Redis cache. Okay, now I'm going to include this caching layer within the post controller so we can store the posts into memory using Redis, and that will help us to improve the performance of the API. So let's go to the controller, and here I'm going to include the post cache, and this is going to be cache that post cache, like that. I guess I need to import the package here. It's going to be cache, like that. Great. Okay. And here I created this get post by ID function. So here is the implementation of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this identifier here. This is the identifier. Okay, what we're going to do here is if the post associated to this identifier is in the Redis cache, we're going to retrieve it. And if not, we are going to use the service to get it and then store that post into the cache. So let's do that. This is going to be var post. It's going to be entity.post. And here we're going to use the cache. So this is going to be post cache. And we're going to use the get operation here. Get. And we're going to pass the post identifier. That is this one. And we're going to make a few changes here. So we need to check if the post is empty or not. So if post is nil, so if we don't get any post associated to that key, we need to do a couple of things. First, we need to use the service to retrieve the post, like this. And we need to handle the error, like this, like in here. So we can reuse that. And we are going to return that error. If we get a value from the service, we are going to store that value into the cache. So we need to use the set operation here. set like that. And we're going to pass the identifier as the key and the post that we received from the service as the value, like that. And then we're going to use these two lines here. Remove this. Okay, and here, if the post is in the cache, we are going to retrieve basically these two lines here. The HTTP status code 200 and the post. Now that this getPostById method is ready, we need to set this cache here in the constructor function. So here we need to assign this value, and we need to pass this value as a parameter here. It's going to be cache that post cache, and here we assign that parameter to this variable. Okay, and now let's move on to the test. So here we need to create, and it's going to be cache.postcache, and it's going to be equals to cache.new Redis cache. And here we need to pass, first I'm going to import the package. It's going to be cache. And here we need to pass three things. We need to pass the host, that's going to be localhost, and the default port that is 6379. The number of the database, that in this case we're going to use 0, or the default database. And we're going to use 10 seconds as the duration time or the expiration time. This variable is already declared, so I'm going to call this postcache serve, and I'm going to pass this here in the constructor of the controller. Great. Okay, and now let's go to the test. The test getPostById, this one. And what I'm doing here is I'm inserting a new post with the same identifier that I'm looking for here on this get request, using this URL /posts/ and the identifier, that in this case is 123. And here I assign a handler, that is the method that we just created. Here I create a new recorder for the HTTP response, and here I dispatch the request. And here I handle the status code, and if it's not okay, I return an error like this. And in any other case, I'm going to decode the HTTP response, and I'm going to make an assertion on the data of the post. So let's run this. Great, this is passing. So now I'm going to change here in the server.go file, where we define all the endpoints of the API. I need to pass the cache to the controller here. So I need to create a new variable. It's going to be postcache. This is going to be cache.postcache. This is the interface. And this is going to be equals to cache.new Redis cache. And here I need to pass the same parameter that I'm passing here in the test. Localhost 6379, 0 as the database, and 10 as the expiration time. Let's change the database. Let's use 1 just to use some database different from the one that we use for testing. I'm going to save this. Yeah, I forgot to import the cache package. I'm going to add it here. Cache. Let's save this. And now I need to pass the postcache here to the controller constructor function. So this is going to be postcache. And here, this line includes the endpoint that we already tested and the controller that we tested. Let's go to the terminal and let's run go. It's not showing the port because I need to assign that environment variable. So I'm going to do that right now. This is going to be export port equals 8000, like that. I'm going to run it again, and now should be running on that port. Yes, now the HTTP server is running on port 8000. Okay, let's go to Postman, and now we should not get any posts. I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to use this identifier to get that value. Great. Okay, and now I'm going to open the Redis CLI so we can see the value stored here associated to this key. So Redis CLI. I'm going to select the database. That in this case is database number 1 here. Select 1. Okay. And here we can do a get, and we can use this identifier. I'm going to copy it. And now I should not get any results. But if I run this, and now if I run this, I should get this value for 10 seconds. Okay, and now we don't get any results. This is working as we expect. Okay, guys, that's pretty much all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and remember to download the Golang cheat sheet. There is a link in the description below this video. Take care. Bye.